Hey, Tony Gaston here, popping in. Now, this is not a Car Chronicles or a Talks with Tony. Kind of a little lesson of the day. And sometimes, I'll try to get the video up, get me an early video up for people when you riding to work, you getting your day started, and just give you something to think about. Now, here's the thing that I've been noticing, and it's one thing I've learned about myself. And a lot of people call it, oh, don't beat yourself up. People call it beating yourself up. But one of the things you really got to be able to do is you really have to be able to evaluate you. We do not have the gift to see ourselves through the eyes of others, but we can see ourselves. And we know what we say and we know what we do that is wrong. We know right from wrong. And that's how you stay out of prison. That's how you stay alive. So you know right from wrong, and you have to be able to look at yourself and evaluate yourself and say, what do I need to work on and what do I need to change? And then what steps do I need to take to change? So one of the things with me is, I could be petty. I could be easily agitated. I could wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And I'm going to use myself for an example on my videos, because instead of just preaching at you, so you could kind of do the same with yourself. So understand that it's not me just talking about me. It's just I'd rather use myself as an example than tell somebody else's business, because y'all know I'm a professional life coach and I work with people every day. Now see, this is what I realize about me, and I say, okay, Tony, you could be a little quick, with that tongue. You could be a little too direct. You could be a little too, brass or crass or whatever you'll call it. So what I do is, when I get ready to say something, when I'm about to say something, I pause and I say it in my head. I say it in my head, and then I look at it from a few different angles. I look at it from my angle, like, in your heart of hearts, do you feel like this is okay to say? And then I look at it from the person who will receive it, look at it from their angle and say, is this something that they can receive? And then I look at it from a onlooker's perspective. If someone was monitoring this conversation, if someone was standing in the room or reading these text messages, is this something that would change their view of you if they read this or if they heard you say this? And it doesn't mean you're not gonna make a mistake. And so now I look at it and I'm like, you know what? That helps you move differently. And when you move differently, and like, for example, I went off on a coach. I went off on a youth league coach. I mean, went off, ripped them a new one. You childish. That's your problem. You act like you're 16 years old, and then you're complaining about these boys in practice not taking practice serious. That's because you don't take it serious. You out here cussing around with them. And my son done been out here, done bust his butt, done been in this organization since he was 3 years old. And then you gonna take and sit my son on the bench when he the best player on the team, the hardest worker on the team, and don't even give him a reason why. And just because he asked you a question in front of the team about one of your strategies, you gonna sit him on the bench and you ain't never punished now one of these white boys like that, cause they parents emailing you every day. We don't say nothing to you, but don't you ever try me like that again. And then other coach come in, oh, we got to go, we got to close down the game. I say, you don't interrupt nothing. You don't interrupt nothing. You don't come on. My wife talking right now. She talking right now. You sit down and you shut up over there. I ain't say sit down. So I said, you don't interrupt nothing. And then, sir, I will interrupt. I will interrupt. This is the most unprofessional thing. I say, sir, you don't know what we done had to deal with. We done spent $50,000 on this season, flying my son on a private jet to get to the game so he don't miss the team game because he the henchman of the team, but we got somewhere else to be, so we got to get on a jet to get him to the game for this coach to pull this mess that he done pulled right here when he ain't never did this with one of these white kids. And then I would have told my son to sit his butt down and to pout and to have an attitude on the bench, but my son standing up, clapping, cheering his team on, because that's how he raised. You know who I am? Now see, listen. Now, when I sit back and I look back at that, I say, okay, nah. Sometimes you got to get with somebody. All right? I'm okay. Sometimes you got to read somebody. I highly doubt that coach gonna ever pull that stunt again. Because I checked him on it. And I let him know, no, Playboy, you not finna do that. Because you don't do that with nobody else. You not finna do it with the one kid of color that you got on your team. And even if that wasn't the reason, that's what looked like the reason. So listen, especially when we getting killed in these streets. So you finna film on this. But see, when I analyze it, I say, okay, I work with athletes at the college and pro level. And I say, okay, if the head coach of the college team saw me talking to that coach like that, how would he then view me? Now, I don't know. He could be like, hey, man, I get it. Or he could be like, whoa, that's a side of Tony I did not know about. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, he said he transitioned out the streets, but man, okay. And so when you take and you evaluate yourself, and that's me. I'm talking about me. Now see, for you, it might be, if you're a woman, you might be wearing super duper tight clothes. Super duper short clothes, super duper low cut shirts. When you evaluate it and you say, why am I doing this? The root could be, I want men to look at me. Or I want other women to be jealous of my physique because of how hard I've worked. I want them to look at me and say, woo, that's a bad woman now. I want men to look at me and say, wow, them things sitting up nice. Or wow, her body is amazing. You may say, I want to differentiate my body and the hard work I put into my body from the rest of these women who not putting in this work. But when you get to the root of it, the reason may be vain. But now when you analyze it and you say, okay, well, what would Pastor such and such think if I went to meet Barack Obama? If my father, picked out my outfit or saw what would he think? So when you evaluate it from a few different ways, that lets you get to the root of, okay, am I doing this for the right reasons and from a pure place? And if the answer is no, then you make a change. Now, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not about, any of that. It's really about you looking within and saying, I only got 15 more minutes, got to coach again. I just got off a coaching call. I just got off 2 coaching calls, and I got 2 more. I got 4 coaching calls a day. That don't happen often. It's very rarely I just coach 1 or 2 people, but today it just so happened where mop flop and the cookie crumble. So I only got 15 minutes. So when you look at this, now you say, okay, all right. So the next time, because I've evaluated my behavior, the next time I say, okay, you know what? I'm finna let that right there play out. And then right after that game, I'm finna do like the mother folks be doing. Get right on that email. Thunder thumbs. And not only am I sending an email, I'm CCing the head. And I'm requesting that we sit down and we set up a meeting. And then when I go in there, I'm talking cool, calm, and collected. Because when I look back over it, when I handle stuff by setting up a meeting and I talk cool, calm, and collected, I get way more results than when I fly off the handle. Now, and I also have to realize, okay, Tony, when it's about you, you were cool, calm, and collected. When it's about your son or it's about your wife, you ready to knock somebody's head off their shoulders. You still got to be cool, calm, and collected, even though it's about somebody you'll kill for. And so, because listen, I don't play about my family. when I don't play about my family. When you messing with the mental stability of my sons or my wife, oh, listen, I'm coming. I live for and die for and kill for. You hear me? So, but I still have to evaluate. So I have to think about this and do this to yourself all the way down, okay? All the way across the board. So I go somewhere. Okay, I'm getting ready to go out the store. Getting ready to go out at night. To go to the grocery store. I say, okay, I go to get my watch. Now this is a Rolex, okay? And I may throw that Rolex on. Okay. This right here my bracelet that I wear. I done took it off because I'm typing on my computer. This right here my bracelet that I wear. And this a Hermes little clasp bracelet, okay? And that's what I wear. And so that's my little jewelry ensemble. I done took my necklace off. I have a little diamond tennis necklace, right? And so if it's 9:30, the other night I had to go out, it was 9:30. This place closed at 10. I think I put my Rolex on. And the root of that is being, I have allowed my blackness in America to make me feel inadequate. And so I need to have a $30,000 watch on my wrist so that when a white man or a white woman or Hispanic or black look at me, they know that I'm not a normal black and that I have made it, that I have accomplished something in my life. That's the root, that's the insecurity. So what I have to do is I have to check myself and I have to say, Tony, who do you have to live for? What's the answer? The answer is God. Now see, listen, don't weaponize my confession to you. I don't need you in the comments telling me why I don't need to feel like that and what I need to do. I coach myself what I'm telling you to do. Instead of trying to be in the comments coaching me, what I'm telling you is to take the same introspection and do an interview of yourself and coach you. Coach you. You see what I'm saying? This I'm telling you how I coach myself. This how I get better. So then I say, okay, the purpose of my jewelry is when I'm dressing up and I'm going somewhere legitimate and it adorns, it complements my outfit. It is to look nice and presentable when I'm going somewhere that my image matters. Going to the grocery store, jewelry doesn't matter. So if I put on jewelry out of insecurity, and this is another reason why I do it is because the world has shaped me like that. Because anywhere I go, whenever I meet a man, I don't pay attention to a black man because he is me. Whenever I meet any other man of another race, the first thing he looks at, and especially white men, the first thing they look at is my wrist. The first thing. And that is the first thing they comment on. It's a really nice watch. Like, sir, how you seeing my watch? Like, sir, why are you looking at watch? I never was that because I didn't understand that. But now that I know, now that I realize that a lot of white men will wear a watch that costs more than their car. Because that watch, for a lot of men, is like the status symbol, the what you treat yourself with. It was a man asked me, one of the coaches with a team I work with. He said, "Your Rolex." He said, "What point did you reach that you decided you wanted to treat yourself with a Rolex? Like was it a certain goal that you hit that you said, I'm gonna get this Rolex?" He asked that because that's what a lot of them do. But for me, I was like, my wife made me buy this watch. We was in Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive, and we walked past a Rolex store. She said, "Hey, let's go in here. You need to get you a watch." My other issue is I got to stop thinking always it's always a catch. Because now that I'm looking back, I'm like, did she have me buy me a watch so that she could get a watch? She actually didn't get a watch. But the way my mind works, I'm always suspecting something. And me, I can't let nothing slide. I become what I don't know what you'll call it, vigilante or what you'll call it, but I become the person that if you finna try to get over on me, I'm finna call you out and let you know that I see exactly what you're doing. And I struggle with just playing the fool and letting somebody get over. I have to tell them, like, I'm working on a car build, and the guy was telling me, like, hey, send us $25,000 and we're gonna order this part. And I said, okay, is there a system in place to where if I send you $25,000, you place the order the next day, and when you place the order, you get a receipt for the order from the manufacturer on their letterhead that says you paid $25,000 for this particular part? Because I'm not paying you for parts, I'm paying your labor costs. So in this build, you have a whole lot of labor costs in there. So I need to know that what I'm sending for parts is going to parts and not to your pocket. And when I asked him that, then that's when he wrote back, oh, well, we do make a little profit off of the parts because of the questioning I gave him. And I said, well, I don't mind you making money off the parts, but I need to know exactly how much so I know what I'm paying, so that if I ever get ready to sell this car, I can say this is what was spent on this car and not what went into your pocket. And so I wrote him a long email and I just spelled it out. And he had said something like, we wouldn't be in business if we was not delivering what we charge people for. And I say, sir, I know criminals that have sold drugs internationally for decades and never got caught. I say, Bernie Madoff was in business for a long time and stole billions before he was caught. So being in business is not an indication of honesty. And I told that to him. Now, that was on email. You see what I mean? So I'm like a sheriff about my business. But now it was more that I could have said that could have took jabs. But when I read it back over, I removed the jabs. And I left just common sense argument, common sense questions. I evaluated my approach because it's emasculating in Florida, in the South, for a white male to work for a black male, because of the racial lines and because of the racial history with slavery and segregation and all of these things, Jim Crow, all of this stuff. I have to be mindful of this. So what I have been doing, as in this place that I'm in, I have been holding these men accountable across the board. And one thing my dad said to me, he said, Tony, you could do that because you have money. He said, the one thing that white men respect is green. He said that most likely 9 out of 10 times, most of them not going to respect black. He said, what you did with that car dealership, because I went to a car dealership and they ran my credit too many times. And I got some straightening. And we got that thing settled out to the tune of a nice, unheard of deal. Never before heard of deal. And I told that to my daddy. He said, son, I can't even believe that. He said, but the thing is, he knew that he'll be taking a gamble to try you. Because when he looked at your credit and he saw what you already got in your name, he could tell that you at a level that you got suing money. He said, if I went in there and I tried to pull what you pull, he said that man would have told me, sorry, sir, bye. And so because of that, and my position of being intelligent and being articulate and being blessed by God, I have to now blur these racial lines, and I have to call out prejudice or racism, and I have to use my position and my influence and the online presence that I've built to back me up. Because in cancel culture, every business is afraid of being tweeted about and being canceled or a petition being signed against them. So I'm in that position. So now I get to shift the culture because they gotta respect me. They gotta respect me now to where that don't really happen. And so I say that to say, even with that, even in those dealings, I still am evaluating the way I'm handling it. Because when I went and did that situation with that car dealership, I could have went in there and flipped over that man's desk. I could have went in there and backhandled him. I could have went in there and threatened his life. I could have went in there and pistol whipped him. I could have did a whole lot of other stuff. I could have had them boys wait on him to leave for work and follow him to his next stop and beat the brakes off of him. All that right there gets done. Where I'm from, all that right there gets done. You do like this. You make one phone call, it's done. It's a lot that I could have done, but I evaluate. And so, yeah, when they're dealing with my son, I lost my cool. And so I'm taking you through this, using myself as an example so you can look at yourself in different ways. I mentioned to you jewelry. How do you dress? I mentioned to you confrontation. How do you talk to people? How do you resolve conflict? What are your conflict resolution tactics? How do you view the world? How are you carrying yourself? How are you thinking about people and about yourself? You know, especially for you singles that want to be in a relationship, what tweaks do you need to make when you really look at yourself and you really ask yourself, like, okay, would I want somebody like me? If I stepped outside of myself and if I was, you know, fit and in shape, would I want somebody like me if I'm not in shape and I'm not doing anything about it? Now, if you're not in shape, but you're working towards it, then you ask yourself, would I want somebody who their body isn't where they want it to be, but they doing the best they can. They on their medication if that's what they got to be on. They walking 30 minutes a day. They eating healthier. They trying to sleep more, get 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep if they can. And they drinking water all day, not soda and too much soda, too much sugar. Like, this person really working on their health to break the generational curse from their family that's been passed down with these bad eating habits. And so you have to look at yourself. Look at your career. Are you complacent? The way you approach your job or your business or your career, and look on the outside. Are you complacent? Are you too comfortable? Are you settling? So in every area of life, we have to get to the place to where we evaluate ourselves. Y'all gotta forgive me, I keep looking over here because I'm watching my time, because I got to go as soon as this clock strike this next minute. So think about this and evaluate yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but hold yourself accountable. And you will be able to see your problems. You really are a life coach, because every single day that you live and you breathe and you win, you just coach yourself that day. You're a life coach. There's no reason why you can't be a life coach to help other people, because sometimes we can't see ourselves. But you can take and evaluate yourself. You ain't gonna be able to see yourself the way I can see you, but you can see enough to change your life and get your life in order. All right, I got to go. Hey, this Tony Gass here. God bless you. We'll talk soon.